Welcome to the BuyBox Experts podcast. We bring to light the unique opportunities brands face in today's e-commerce world.
BuyBox Experts podcast. This is Eric Stopper. Today's episode is brought to you by BuyBox Experts. BuyBox Experts takes ambitious brands and makes them unbeatable. We've got a team of consultants. I am one of them. Come and talk to us. We would love to tell you how you're doing, and we would love to work with you on a new Amazon strategy or just ramping up what you're currently doing. Go to buyboxexperts.com, click on the free analysis button, and you'll be connected with me or a member of my team. I will talk with you soon. Today, I am joined by Jono DiPeri, the founder of Myostorm, a company with a unique flagship product called the Meteor, a heating massage therapy ball that is meant, as the website says, to crush pain. His team is comprised of engineers and professional athletes who developed the product and launched it on Kickstarter, where it was quickly funded. And then in late 2019, they appeared on Shark Tank, where they did a deal with Lori, the queen of QVC. He's a family man, an engineer, and a friend. Jono, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you've probably told this story a few times over, but I want our listeners to kind of hear it from you. We haven't had a Shark Tank or a Kickstarter company come on. And I hate to put you in a bucket as a Kickstarter company. That's just a means of getting funded. But I kind of want to know the genesis of the idea, and then just like the first few months of actually starting the company around it. Can you kind of give us a story?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, it was, it could take a long time for me to tell the whole story, so I have to give different versions. But it kind of was by chance that this all started happening. I was a mechanical engineering student at BYU. And through that, I got involved in a research group, the Vibrations Lab, and it was cross-disciplinary between engineering and physiology. Essentially, we studied how vibration affects the human body. And it was kind of in that research group that we decided to try to develop a product that could utilize vibration that we could use in our studies and research. And through that, we found that there were really unique and specific frequencies and amplitudes that had different therapeutic effects. So as I was doing this research, one of my best friends, Shaquille Walker, who was running professionally for the Brooks Beasts in Seattle at the time, I'd mentioned it to him and it got him kind of excited, and he was telling me that, hey, there could be huge application for this in running. We already use different types of massage devices. So if we could really get something that was research backed and effective, this could be big. That was the first time that I thought about, hey, maybe I could pursue this as a business idea, not just this research project. So it kind of started to grow, and during development of this product for research, I was using Shaq and his teammates as kind of validation on the product and helping design it. And there was just one day, I think Shaq and I have had so many business ideas since we've known each other. It was just, we'd have the craziest ideas and talk about, starting businesses. And it was always kind of a fantasy for me. And one day I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And, maybe you crash and burn, but at least I'll learn something. So I kind of just decided one day, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see what happens. So we entered a business competition at BYU. It was actually the Student Innovator of the Year competition. And we ended up winning a few $1,000s. And that was the kind of the first moment that it became real, like, oh, hey, actually this might go somewhere. It's not just another cool idea that we had. So we entered some more business competitions, got some great mentorship, and decided kind of as our final form of validation, because I didn't really do it the proper way when we started out. We decided to use Kickstarter kind of as our final form of validation, as well as funding. So we just set a goal of about $20,000. And we said, if we hit this without really pushing it too hard, then we'll go full steam ahead. We'll kind of take that chance. At the time, we were both busy students. We had other, career and future plans. And we kind of were at that crux of, are we going to, stop everything else and put our lives towards this and actually try to make something out of it? Or is it just going to keep being the little side project?
Right.
And then the Kickstarter campaign, after all was said and done, we ended up doing about 70 grand. So over tripled the goal. And that was kind of like, okay, this is for real. We can make something out of this. And that's kind of what got it started. Pretty shortly after, I think that Kickstarter we ran in 2018, September of 2018. And then January, February of 2019, Shark Tank reached out to us. They had kind of found us, I think, probably through our Kickstarter. and just wanted to hear a little bit about our story. And they encouraged us to apply, and we got kind of pushed to the final rounds, and it just ended up going from there. So it was really a blessing. I don't know if it's luck or what, but we got picked up, and everything just went smooth sailing, and now we're growing.
Nice. So how big's the team now? How big has Milestorm grown to?
Oh, honestly, it hasn't grown a ton, just because we're still in that stage of trying to stay as lean as possible. We've got probably 10 people involved, but only 2 of us full time. And we manage as much of it as we can
Right.
by ourselves, but we're looking at growing here pretty soon. I'm in the hiring process. So we've hired in the hiring process with 2 other people right now. So
Nice. Very nice. So I want to take a couple of steps back. So a lot of the folks that listen to our show are either already selling on Amazon or want to sell on Amazon, or they just want to do e-commerce in general, not necessarily Amazon focused. And they listen for folks who have kind of run the gambit. So you were at this vibration lab at BYU, and were there other products kind of on the table, other research ideas that you could have pursued? What were those, and then why did you decide on this ball design, this meteor?
yeah, so kind of the original concept was just vibration, right? And it started off as the question, what apparatus do we use to deliver this vibration? It could have been anything, right? It could have been a massage gun, it could have been a ball, it could have been a roller, it could have been a pad. And that's where we just kind of started taking what's going to be the most effective and useful and versatile way to use this. Because there's whole body vibration platforms, there's big vibration tools, but what's something that we could really use for localized areas of the body? Because a lot of research has been done on full body vibration, like standing on a platform. Not so much until recently on localized vibration, like applying it to a specific point. And that's really what we wanted to pursue in our research. So we wanted something that could deliver vibration to a small area, pretty much anywhere on the body that we decided we wanted to study, whether it's the foot or the neck or the face or the leg. So and then when I started speaking to Shaquille about it and kind of started talking to him about, hey, what could be something that does well in the market, the massage ball just started to make a lot more sense. One, because it's extremely versatile and portable, doesn't take a lot of space, and you can use it pretty much anywhere on your body. However creative you are is ways you can use it, where a lot of other mechanisms require somebody else to hold the device, and then it also provides this trigger point side of the therapy. So there's 3 forms of therapy that the Meteor provides, our product, and is heat, right? The vibration, and then what's kind of commonly referred to as trigger point therapy. It's kind of a misnomer, but essentially using pressure like massage to release tension in the muscles. So the ball just kind of ended up making the most sense to deliver all forms of those therapy in a way that was familiar to that athletic and sports market, but could still have application in chronic pain, where we felt our bigger market was. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you guys have more products in the pipeline that follow the same? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We've got like four other products that are in various stages. We're hoping to launch at least 1 this year, potentially 2 or 3.
Nice.
So we'll see.
And are they leveraging the exact same research, or are you guys breaking out into other areas?
Yeah, same research. Some, a couple of the product ideas we have are just variations on what we currently have that are, again, in a mechanism that's useful to different sets of people, right? So our current product might not be right for everybody. And so we're making variations of it that we've received from customer feedback. And then what's currently out in the market, it's extremely popular. We're kind of taking our take on some of those products, putting our research behind it, and making them better. So
you chose Kickstarter. Did you use I know there's Kickstarter agencies out there. I used one for a previous business of mine. Did you guys leverage any of that, or was it totally solo?
Yeah, we did. We used I don't even remember the one that we used, but we did use a Kickstarter agency, but only for the last week of our funding.
Interesting.
we kind of didn't want to use an agency. Because again, it was one of these final forms of validation for us. We just wanted to push it ourselves and see how it could kind of grow organically and see what the interest would be just from that community. But we did want to run some ads just to see what the response was to ads. I think that we're kind of worried that the Kickstarter companies, they have this giant database of people that are really, loyal to Kickstarter, not necessarily a great representation of who our customer would be. So that we wanted to run it for a week. We just kind of wanted to see how it did on its own for the first couple of weeks through our efforts and through we wanted to push. And then just for kind of kicks and giggles, we kicked that last week off with this agency who was just kind of waiting for us to pull the trigger to see how that performed as well. And so it was good that we got information on how we could perform just organically doing it on our own, and then how we could perform a little bit with some help. And so it was good information for us.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, was it a huge lift? Did the ads make a significant impact on the last? I mean, you said you tripled your goal, right? So you were somewhere around $20,000 for your goal, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
Where were you at, like right when you hired the agency?
That's a good question. I can't remember. Feels like ages ago, but I'm pretty sure we had met our goal before the ad started running.
So it was all just cream on top.
But it was definitely a big boost. In that last week, I think we did 40 grand or something like that. So it was pretty good.
Will you do it again, a Kickstarter? Or are you going to avoid crowdfunding?
It's a good question. Like literally for a couple hours this week, I've been meeting with my team, just talking about this next product that we're wanting to launch. And we've been going back and forth on whether we want to do a Kickstarter or not. I think we will, partly because we feel a lot of gratitude and loyalty to those original Kickstarter backers in that community for really getting us to where we are today. It was really great. So we want to offer them some more incentives and getting the sneak peeks at our products with good deals, as well as continuing to leverage that marketplace, because you can get seen by so many people on Kickstarter that you wouldn't otherwise. So it's a nice platform, especially if you've already had a successful campaign. Usually you just keep building upon that traction and they do better and better. So I think we're leaning towards probably launching our future products on Kickstarter, but we'll figure it out. Yeah,
I've seen like brands like Nomadic, The Bag. I think they've probably done 6 Kickstarters at this point. Yeah. And they all look very similar. No offense to Nomadic, but they just keep smashing it. So you went through this competition, Gambit. I want to speak to kind of both of the audiences that listen to us. Some of these guys are students, right? Some of these folks are very much in this university Gambit, I think, as you said, doing these competitions. I went through them as well. Do you think that you would have pursued the business if you hadn't have won that SIOI, the Student Innovator of the Year competition?
Definitely not.
Really?
Okay. I think that was a huge catalyst. Yeah. There's, I guess, a possibility because outside of the competitions, there's still some great mentorship provided, through the entrepreneurial programs and stuff that we were involved with. And we were kind of involved with that simultaneously to this competition, but the competition was really like, I think that first validation point that was like, hey, this could be real. It was still just kind of a fun idea, like, fantasy kind of in the back pocket until we won that cash, I think. So, right.
How much money did you end up taking home in big checks from the university?
Honestly, not. I think overall we only did like three grand, but to us at the time it was like, wow, it's amazing, So
yeah, milk and honey. You're a poor college student, and you had like a little boy, right? Yeah. And then did you have another kid on the way as well during all this time?
Yeah, so it was a kind of a crazy time for me. I was busy with the engineering program. My wife just had a little boy, and it was crazy. I'm sure your dad, kind of how that goes, but a lot of health complications with, for my wife as a result of that. Sleepless nights, the engineering program, and trying to run a business was pretty hefty. And then pretty shortly after, my wife got pregnant again with twins that we ended up losing around 30 weeks. And that was just kind of all in the midst of these competitions and starting the business. And so it was really tough to try to decide, am I going to pursue this business and take on this risk? Am I going to try to find another job and go forward with the engineering recruiting? There's just so many factors that play that it was a kind of crazy, stressful time for sure.
Yeah, and you had mentors, right, that probably helped you through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is that what made the difference, or did your wife just say like keep on pressing, or was she kind of on the other side saying like forget this, like let's get something super stable because life
Yeah.
is nuts?
Honestly, no, my wife has been my biggest supporter, biggest rock, biggest fan. She's just got a lot of faith in me, you know, and just hope. And she was always like, you know, I trust that the choices that you make will be all right. You know, we'll be okay. So you do whatever you feel like you want to do, and I'll support you. And you know, she's never questioned my choices, you know, and when I told her that I think there's an opportunity here, she's like, great, you know, I'm backing you 100%. And that's been a huge blessing because I know that that's not always the case. And so that's been a big support to me for sure throughout all this, that she just trusted that if I chose to do it, you know, I would find a way to make it successful no matter what I did. So that was been really cool.
And I'm guessing you were probably second guessing just about every decision that you were making at that time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, honestly, I still have it. I think I've talked to other entrepreneurs and I think it's a similar kind of thing where I would wake up some days just so confident and like, yeah, we're going to take over the world. And the next day, like, what am I doing?
It's time to close my doors.
I still have that. It's like one day to the next, you know, every other day I'm just either waking up confident or like stressed out of my mind, and slowly but surely I have more confident days. But I think that being able to consciously make the choice to continue to push through some of the anxieties and the stress and the uncertainties is what makes or breaks entrepreneurs. So
yeah, I definitely think so too, and I've felt that. So I want to talk about the actual Shark Tank experience. So when I was doing my my nanotechnology business, Shark Tank had reached out to me, the executive producers, and it sounds like they did a very similar thing for you. Was this after the point that they kind of did away with the no matter what, we're going to take equity in your business if you come on the show? I know that was a thing for a while.
Yeah. And I don't know, I can't really speak to this too much, you know, depending on what Shark Tank tells other people, because what they told us really clearly from the beginning is that like you'll hear all these rumors that we'll take equity, and that's never been the case. I think for the first season they did it, but I don't even think it was mandatory. At least that's what they told us getting involved. So there was no, Shark Tank, their only interest is for the entertainment side of it. They're totally separate from the businesses and the deals and the sharks. They're really just in it for the show and the entertainment.
Yeah, I think they do a fabulous job. Now, you were in there for like an hour, right? Like it was a legit pitch.
Somewhere between, you know, 30 minutes and an hour. It felt like 2 minutes, right? But you're in there for a while. And they only show, you know, a few minutes of it on TV. So, but yeah, there's definitely some more negotiating and behind the scenes and discussion. And the Sharks always have a lot more questions that maybe just aren't as intriguing to the general Shark Tank viewer base. But is important for an investing pitch. So, and
you would say that they take it pretty seriously, right? Like they're actually going through and saying, this is an opportunity that I'm trying to pursue. And I trust that. Like, is it Shark Tank that does the preliminary screenings? Is it like the Sharks? Do they have their own producers and people that vet these different companies to decide whether they're going to come through?
No, from what I understand, the Sharks have no idea who's about to walk in front of them.
They get like a business plan as you're walking out though, right? Or something like that. Maybe do it.
I don't even know if they do that. If they do, it's
totally cold.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, man, that just speaks to the producers of Shark Tank. What a good job.
Yeah.
So tell me kind of, well, actually I have a specific question. So there's a section in the Shark Tank episode, and we'll put it in the show notes as well so everyone can go and watch it, where you and your co-founders kind of like we're gonna powwow for a second and try to come to a decision to decide which deal you wanted to take. And at that time, you had Mark Cuban did his childish thing where he was like, yeah, like if you hear any other deals, I'm gonna be out. And you had Lori, Mr. Wonderful, and then Matt Higgins was on there doing like a special guest. Do you remember how that conversation went? What you talked about with your founders?
I do. Yeah, it's actually pretty clear in my mind. I think what actually came out in the conversation, what was going on in my head may have been different things, but it wasn't an easy choice. for me, I was, really tempted to consider some of the other offers and was a lot more cautious. I think my co-founders, specifically Shaquille, he felt really confident, and it was really great to have him there in the circle because we had discussed kind of our plan and what we wanted to do and what offers we would want to take if we got it. And he was really good at just like sticking to that and doing what made the most sense. I loved Matt Higgins. I just, would have loved to do a deal with him. But at the end of the day, it was kind of Lori's offer and Kevin's offer were better. They gave us the better valuation. They gave us, I think, the better potential. And then so it just became between Kevin and Lori. And I think we had kind of identified Lori as a great potential partner in the sense that we felt we could do really well on TV because our product's very demonstrable. She actually understands, I think, our market. Like I don't know if it actually showed it in the episode, but we talked about our market is actually women that are, late 30s and above that are just trying to live healthy, active lifestyles and reduce pain, maybe post-pregnancy, things like that. So even though we gear and market towards this kind of fitnessy feel, most of our customers aren't actually athletes. They're just people that want to feel good. We just found that segment of the market responds well to this fitness vibe. So we felt that Lori could provide a female perspective on our true customer base that we just kind of aren't as familiar with at that time. All of us men.
Yeah. Three male co-founders. And by that point on Shark Tank, you knew that these were your customers, this kind of demographic, women in their mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. So in terms of market though, oftentimes a company like Myostorm, especially one that's single product or like a subsidiary of a big medical company, for instance, they'll start by selling exclusively to like chiropractors and therapists and coaches and stuff like that. You guys decided to go direct to consumer. Did you ever consider doing the exclusively to these practitioners, that kind of business model?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it's still a consideration with a lot of our products. Part of the reason is because a lot of our research and our research team that's continuing to come out with stuff, a lot of that research really is based in a clinical scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of our research is based around our devices and our technology solving acute pain, which has tremendous benefits in the clinical side of things. It's a little bit trickier to currently tap into that market. Just that channel is a little bit more complicated, and the regulations and finding the right model, but we're constantly working on it. And we think that we'll probably have certain products that are exclusive to that clinical setting. But we really wanted to make a research, scientifically backed product that was good enough for athletes, but accessible to everyone. And that's still kind of part of our vision is we want to help everybody, just live life to its fullest potential. Right. So enabling anybody, whether you have chronic pain and you're older, or you're an athlete that just wants to improve your performance, to us, it's all the same. We just want to help people feel better and live life happier. So we wanted to make a really accessible product. So we felt like by, making certain products just exclusive to this clinical field would eliminate some of our potential customers, because we really feel like anyone can be. But we have definitely went back and forth. There's certain products that would really make sense in this clinical setting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll just keep an eye out for that in the future.
Does the target ever become kind of myopic, right? Where you're only focused on a specific type of person and it maybe misses some of the other folks? Like, how do you dynamically target all these different demographics that you can service?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and something we're continuing to learn ourselves, right? And that's one of the biggest challenges I feel like our company and brand has faced, is trying to decide, like, do we just try to serve everybody, or do we focus? And so we're doing a lot of learning still. So definitely all of the audience that we target, we have specific material that we're testing, with different groups of people. And we're really trying to find what works best for us still. The fitness market for us has always probably been our strongest point to market to, just because of all the traction we have, the validation we have with the professional athletes that are on board with us. And so I think it'll take time for us to really shift and capitalize on other channels. or other segments of the market. But we're definitely constantly creating content and testing different content for different fields and different markets. And I think eventually we will probably have to try to focus or potentially, sub-brand to different segments of the market.
Right. Now, you're a mechanical engineer, which means you are a tinkerer just inherently. You like to build stuff. And most engineers that I've met, they are really, 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 really focused on one thing, and then they'll see something really shiny, and it's all that they can do to keep from running after that other idea. Have you experienced that during this whole time at Milestorm?
Yes and no. I feel like that tendency is definitely part of me, but I feel like I've been pretty good at reining it in. I think I have a list of like 40 other ideas that I was just kind of waiting to be tackled when, this journey kind of ends for me, which may not be for a very long time. So I have these ideas all the time, but I really do everything I can to focus on what we're doing now and to making sure that we're executing well before I shift my focus. It's definitely a temptation though. So
I definitely feel that. So I found that in talking to all these product companies, sometimes their success, oftentimes I would say, is tied to like landing a big, what I would call an anchor client, like Walmart, or in your category, Dick's Sporting Goods, right? Like you get on the shelves at Dick's, you've probably you've made it, right? You're gonna get some revenue and some POs. Did you guys have any of these early ones where you just landed a big brick and mortar contract?
No. Honestly, most of our business has all just been e-commerce. The brick and mortar stuff, we've gone back and forth on what our strategy should be approaching that. We've definitely considered some big boxes, and obviously being involved with Lori, we considered, Bed Bath & Beyond and some of these other places that she has connections with.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it never felt right for our brand to go into any of these big box stores and this mass distribution. Kind of the marketplace that we're addressing right now, they tend to shop at like the specialty stores. So like specialty running stores. So where you go and get your running shoes, where the athletes and people are coming in. We liked that model a little bit better because we have closer, more intimate relationships with each of the stores individually. We can kind of control, because our product is like demonstrable in a way, like people want to feel it, before they really sold on buying it. It just made a lot more sense to be in these smaller stores that could have demo products out, and that the reps could be trained to kind of talk about it in conjunction with other things that are going on. So we kind of ended up avoiding and just steering away from really trying to push like a big box sale, and we're focusing on mini specialty stores. And word travels fast, and we have dozens of those guys reaching out to us pretty regularly. So
good. So e-commerce in general, what has been the single most influential strategy that you have applied to grow your online presence?
Honestly, we're pretty young, and we have like a handful of strategies that we're discussing and really trying to launch. For us, Shark Tank's really carried us through to now. And what I mean by that is, like, after our Shark Tank episode aired, we just had a tremendous jump in traffic that lasted pretty much through January. And even then, for our advertising, no matter how many different ads that we put out, our clips of Shark Tank that we use in our ads like outperform everything else.
Wow.
Phenomenally. So it's just like, no matter how cool or great of an ad we try to think of, it's still the Shark Tank brand name that's bringing us a lot of our momentum. So we just haven't really thought to mess with that too much yet.
Have you ever tried showing the setting of Shark Tank in an ad, but not actually showing like the logo and the sharks, to see if it's the logo or if it's just kind of like the pitch setting that does the trick to convert people?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We haven't a ton. We have like a couple of images from Shark Tank that we've used, and then some clips of the videos that they released to us. But we've never really tried to change that up. We've just always used the same ones. But I think it's a great idea to kind of try to test that out and see, because we aren't technically allowed to use their logo anywhere.
Oh,
so
interesting.
We just have to make sure that,
I almost wonder if I stage like a Shark Tank setting and I make it look like I was on Shark Tank, I wonder I wonder if that would increase my conversion rate.
I do think the video that like shows the sharks and stuff does perform better than the stills and everything still. So I don't know, but yeah, it's an interesting thought.
We'll have to see. I'll have to test it. And if anybody listening wants to test it out with me, and you can validate the hypothesis here, let's give you a free Alexa. Tweet at me at Eric Stopper, and we'll see what we can do. Jono, anything else that you wanna tell our listeners? What are you working on? Where should I send everybody?
Right now, we're really busy, just really trying to revamp our content again. When Shark Tank hit, we were pretty young in the process and hadn't really built our brand that much. And it kind of the success caught us off guard. So we've just been catching up really since Shark Tank hit. And now that we've kind of settled down and are standing on our feet and getting our feet in place, we're really trying to build the brand and develop content that delivers the messaging that's consistent with our ideals and values, which I don't think we've done well to date, because we've just been focusing on staying afloat with the influx from Shark Tank orders. But we're doing a lot on our website, milestorm.com. We're constantly trying to release blogs and content. We're revamping a lot of campaigns right now. We are doing a big giveaway right now. The charitable side of our business is really important to us. It's one of the things that as founders, we kind of all agreed on from the very beginning, that we always wanted giving back to the community to be an important part of our brand. So right now we're actually doing a nomination giveaway. If you find us on social media, you can see our posts on that, where we're giving away some of our recovery tools to people who are in need. So Jared Ward, who's an Olympic marathoner, who was one of our founders that came on Shark Tank, our plan originally was to do this speaking circuit, probably in our local community to start, but maybe doing some traveling where we go to high schools and he would speak about health and fitness and cross country and the Olympic dream, and just trying to inspire the youth. And then we were going to be giving away these recovery tools to those underfunded sports programs. With everything that's kind of going on in the world right now, we're not doing some of those visits, so we decided to just run an online nomination giveaway. So if you know anyone whose training has been affected, maybe a high school athlete that doesn't have access to their training room anymore, isn't meeting with their team as regularly, or maybe somebody who's in chronic pain that doesn't have as easy access to their therapists and chiropractors and things like that, we're asking people to nominate someone they know who's in need of these recovery devices that can help reduce pain and help people continue on their recovery goals. So that's something we're doing right now. We're planning to launch a lot more campaigns like that in the future. So you can follow us on social media. It's really easy to find, just Milestorm. And then on our website, we launch a lot of that information as well.
Perfect. Yeah. As part of the Global Spread Joy campaign, the Meteor is $50 off right now, right?
Correct.
All right. Awesome. Jono, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Buy Box Experts podcast. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web, and we'll see you next time.